I think we might be wrong. But nevertheless, we're going to see some more PvP action coming out. We're going to go right into it as fast as we can. And we're going to be casting you the game that we spoke about a little earlier, which is the Blinks and Katana's team. I'm not sure who their third is. I forget. But we'll be able to jump in here in the lobby and let you know momentarily. Looks like it is...
I believe it would have been Reyes, I think
so, yeah. I'm looking at the lobby here real quick and trying to see, but here, I'll shoot you a little invite. They're going to be against Attributions, Poorest, and a car.
Oh, I see. So this is actually so we have Kiviri. So Kiviri is an incredibly skilled high-rank blade in the Russian server. Usually, when you think of the top blades, you think it's either going to be Shichi or it's going to be Kiev. There is no real consensus on which blade really takes it. As Kiev, he has a history of using very unorthodox, strange builds that no other blade runs, and yet somehow he actually makes them work. So you can see this is going to be a very solid team. We have the blade frontline Katana of the gunslinger, just as I was talking previously, right? Although he's historically known for his Reaper and his Shadow Hunter, he's actually on gunslinger this time, which he has been picking up and playing on tournament quite frequently. And I believe you have I believe this is Blinks on a Bard,
which is
Sophist.
That's why I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of tilted my head when I first entered the lobby because I was expecting to see Blinks on a Soulmaster or Soulfist rather, and something like that, and then I see Bard. And I don't see the name Blinks, so I have to assume that Blinks is the Bard. And I was kind of, a little bit shocked. I never really pegged Blinks for a support player, and even more so a Bard player at all. But maybe he's been getting coached by Lofty a little bit, and he has the talent to make things work. So we'll be able to get the game going here as we get things underway. Hopping into game number 1 against Raffle Lan Q. I don't know why they call their team name that. And the blue team, which I have not gotten the team name for, but I will let you know. And honestly, I see chat talking about DPS Bard, and maybe he is playing DPS Bard. I wouldn't put that past Blinks, to be honest, but
I think I would. There's a level of integrity that you expect from top level players that they would not give up. If Blink starts playing DPS Bard, I think you said perhaps he might be getting coached by Lofty. I think Lofty will definitely have a very, very strict word if she sees a DPS Bard come up in this tournament. And certainly there's going to be some harsh words coming in from me. But you always have to keep in mind, right? So Sophist is a class that is relatively ping sensitive. You're going to be playing that class in a high ping environment. It can be a little bit difficult. Maybe better to play Bard, which is a class that can perform better in a high ping environment and be able to give your team that support pick for the team comp and, let the rest of your team play classes they're very comfortable with and see how that works out.
Yeah, we do have, as you did mention, Katana on that Gunslinger, and I'm curious to see how he manages to deal with Gunslinger on the ping that he's on. I'm not sure what his I think it's about 100, 110 ping from where he's playing, and he will be the first one that's going to get initiated on here by the blue team, as he does manage to roll away and get on the other side of the Sork. Trying to get that combo off. We'll be able to get that freeze grenade into the huge amount of damage, but no, actually gets stunned in that frost fog for a little bit. Eats a punishing strike to the face. The Blade Awakening is going to come out, but Poorest does die. And Kiev and Katana do find the first 2 kills of this match.
Now, so I can see Kiev with the early double awakening, quite literally almost solo 1v2'd. What was it? Poorest and Akari Sayo, they are from the blue team. And Katana as well with his own awakening to finish things off. The Artillerist, they are just trying to get something, but you see Kiev just basic attacking, immuning the Gatling completely. You can see Akari trying to go in, but finds himself a little bit isolated. Gets a nice double airstrike though, the Artillerist. Akari's trying to convert off of that, the Rose, but Blinks going in with the early awakening. They don't want to lose that momentum. They don't want to lose that lead. You can see that this is happening very frequently for a lot of the high level teams, right? They're using those early awakenings to set this early game pace, and Akari very low. They're now in a 2v3 situation. Kiev using that Maelstrom buff. The Sorceress, I believe, has no role now and gets scored by Katana. A lot of bursts coming in here. Look at a perfect shot. And a double perfect shot, actually, landing into Akari just as he's coming out of base, possibly using a skill to break that invulnerability out, trying to get away from base a little bit quicker. But he's going to pay for it very heavily as he gets bursted very, very hard by both Kiev and Katana.
Yeah, what an insane awakening, as you did mention early on, to allow his team to continue the pressure. Something to note that we didn't talk about much, but blue team not running a support, running a triple DPS comp, and it seems like they are just running into problems of not being able to get that follow-up with their engages onto a very agile Rothel land queue. The blade being very quick, the gunslinger being nigh impossible to catch, and with the barge just supporting them, it's a really hard time for them to actually be able to find some sort of momentum here. 6-1, they're down by a lot, and Katana has no fear. All of the members of the blue team just trying their best to find any opportunity to catch one of these slippery Rothel land queue players and try to build some sort of advantage.
Yeah, you can see Katana practically working as a front line as opposed to Kiev, right? Using that gunslinger mobility to just never get caught and just be able to walk down the blue team. A 6-kill lead in favor of the red team. One thing they probably have noticed is they're really rotating buffs very well, right? You can see that, you know, even though they're low, it seems like the Heavenly Performance come off. We see the heal, and you can see Katana just going right into attributions. We see an awakening, though, from the Artillerist. Gets a catch onto Kiev, but we have the bot damage reduction just preventing all of that. Kiev would have been dead right there, but the Rhapsody of Light just means that Kiev practically takes less than 10% of his health as damage. Katana just very low, taking a little bit of damage from the turret, but not like it matters as him and Kiev just collapse on Poorest, and poor he will be after the amount of beating that he's going to be taking there. His lunch money is completely and utterly gone as both Katana and Kiev just burst him down so incredibly hard. We may be seeing another very high kill difference game here. It's like we go to 10-1 and the blue team finds themselves in a 1v3 situation. You can see even though all members of the red team are low, they don't stop going and they immediately change targets after attributions once they realize that Poorest is no longer a target. And Akari with the shield buff. This means that he has died 4 times in a row without a single kill or assist landing. And it seems that they may be able to at least finish off Kiev here. He will lose that shield buff. But with 10-4, there just is no coming back for the blue team.
Yeah, something to know about, or not know about, something to look out for is just the way that the red team here is alternating their CC. A huge identity ability in from Kiev as well as he finds the kill onto a car. And as we tick away the final seconds, 11-4 in your first match against of Rothel against the blue team here. And as we mentioned, the hardest thing to deal with is a team that knows when to CC, when to pull back, when to pull in. If we look at the damage, almost 700,000 damage by Kiev, 650 just shy of was Katana, and Blinks for some reason did really well on that Bard as well. So that I was not expecting to see him do as well as he did. But no DPS Bard, unfortunately. A little bit sad about that. But now that you've kind of played against this kind of juggernaut of a team, let's call them, is there anything really you could do to kind of improve your chances of staying in this one and forcing a game 3?
I mean, it's very difficult, right? So these are Grandmaster players from the Russian server. They are like all very incredibly skilled, and they have history playing together, right? This is not the first time that they have played together. They have done many customs, many practices together, and also, you know, these are all people that have played in Russian tournaments. They have a lot of tournament experience. We may see a little bit of experience difference here. Like you see teams that have 2 years of experience, plus potentially a team that, you know, has been playing for less than 2 months. But honestly, they really have to make use of the fact that they are a triple DPS team, right? So blue team did have these moments where they found a lot of burst in, and it's very difficult because you do have the content of a Bard. Whenever the Artillerist got a combo, you saw the Bard immediately come out there with the Rhapsody, or having the end on buff up, which just denies the hard CC. So what they probably have to do is just be able to work around those buffs, work around that damage reduction from the Bard, so they can really just capitalize on a single target, burst them faster than they can react, and then back off and try and rinse and repeat that. Is the only way I see them being able to take this.
Yeah, and it's going to be a really tough... it's a big mountain to climb, right? That's what we can say in terms of fighting this team. Obviously, Blink's not being on his main, right? Not kind of alting this Bard is still just proving to be a really big hurdle for the red team here, which I still haven't gotten their name, unfortunately. But it's definitely difficult for them to sort of get anything going. And I'm very curious to see how they decide to approach this game, number 2, before we get things going. We are fixing the teams just now, getting everyone in the lobby. There was little issues with the lobby before we can get things going for you. But chat, I know you all are spamming the Blink spam. If Blinks has 1 million fans, you are one of them. But if you're all spamming it, then the last sentence just doesn't make sense, right? Because your copy paste is wrong.
You are the majority as opposed to the minority, it seems.
Just to
But yeah.
answer Beegs TV, I'm just the caster. I didn't make this tournament. I'm not an admin of this tournament. So if you have feedback regarding people playing who aren't in the region, I would bring it up to the admins. But again, this is an open tournament for everybody to join, no matter what region you're from. And as we mentioned earlier, the people who are in these games getting fighting against the teams that you're looking at is this is a good way for them to do it. Is a good way for them to sort of learn and improve their skill. Because if you just play against people you're gonna roll, then you won't learn. But if you play against people that are rolling you, that's probably the best way to learn.
And to become the best, you have to fight the best, and we're Kiwi. It seems like is Luffy's proposal here for our name here. So Mr. Kiwi, he will definitely one of the star players there of their team, and I think if there's one thing the blue team has to do differently is not allow Mr. Kiwi there from getting a double awakening into a full moonlight tonic into a level 3 identity, which again he single-handedly 1v2'd at the beginning, and that was just massive, right? It just set that early momentum, that early pace where the red team, right, where Ruffline just did not stop going. Their foot was down on the gas the entire match. They just always rotating buffs. When Maelstrom was down, Heavenly Performance was up. When Heavenly Performance was down, Indomitable Performance was up. When Indom was down, then you would have, the Gunslinger pushing in or going forwards and making a lot of space for their team, right? Using those cooldowns. There was always something or other for them to be able to push. And if they let themselves be chucked into a 1v3 situation at any point, this is a snowball that Ruffland needs to really, really punish.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, just keep it respectful in chat. Obviously, you could troll me as much as you want, but don't troll the competitors. Don't troll my co-caster, Lin. But you can obviously troll me as much as you want. I'm fair game, but keep it respectful when it comes to our competitors, and keep it respectful when it comes to everybody else in the chat. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. If you want to follow Lin, which I suggest you do, so not if you want to follow, go follow Lin at twitter.com/lin_no_. His Twitch is going to be somewhere in chat because he's going to type right now. And make sure you go follow him. And we'll be able to get things underway.
Although I hope I can even post links in your chat, Grenton.
Oh, you can. Just for you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Post your
That's
Twitch.
wonderful. Look at that.
Go follow, go follow, go follow. How many teams in total were there? I believe there was 115 teams that signed up for this tournament. Huge vouch, yeah. I learned so much from Lin, by the way. I have casting experience, but before I started doing these tournaments, I had 0 Lost Ark experience. And Lin handheld me and taught me the way. So go follow Lin.
You flatter me, Grantham. We all learn a lot from each other. And, as we're saying, right, the amount of participants in this tournament makes it, I believe, the biggest open Lost Ark tournament that we have had so far here in the West. Although I have to say, Grantham, you may have to cast this match alone, as I am not in the room, which means I cannot see the game.
Oh, here, I got you. I got you.
I will, just as you're talking about, it is now time for me to make a true judgment on your casting skills, Grantham, as you're going to have to solo cast this match. Let's see what you can do.
I'm sharing the screen. You're welcome.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
I'm a man of solutions, not a man of problems. And we're going to get things underway here. Game number 2 against Raffleland against the unnamed blue team that I still haven't gotten the name for, but that's okay. Early Awakening is going to come out from Poorest, trying to create some momentum in here for his team. Katana going to be dancing around with Kiwi. Yes, I'm going to call him Kiwi from now on. And good. This is really good by the blue team, staying together, not letting Katana find and pick them off, which a gunslinger wants to do. But a nice nice single stun here by Blinks, and the Awakening, excuse me, is going to come out by Kiwi as they manage to get some damage off. Akar is very low, but everyone else in the blue team rather healthy. We do have a Moonlit Sonic that comes out. Attributions trying to get some damage onto Kiwi as well, and the Awakening is going to eat Katana a little bit, but the shields and the damage reduction from the bar just proving to be so strong and negating so much of that damage as the red team sort of backs up a little bit to reset.
Yeah, that's right. So you have to keep in mind, right? So already, 2 Awakens have been used from both teams. Katana did miss. Oh, we can see a lot of damage that may be coming in here from the Artillerist. Like, they have to play around the Bard cooldown. So you see, the Bard is the one that actually got caught there. So much damage being done. Katana is going to be able to finish off Akari. But, blue team is starting to slowly but surely start making a comeback. Kiwi relatively low. Can see the Blaster Gatling just trying to get anything done here. Manages to space away from the Voice Strike just in time. The Spiral Flame is going to land in the focus shot. Poorest is going to take a little bit of damage there, but honestly, they can still really hold this. Really, if they can play around that bot damage reduction, you can see, you know, Rhapsody has just been used. They now have no Rhapsody, so this would be the time to go in, but being left in a 2v3 situation, Kiwi still, there we go, finally finished off by Akari, but now Attributions himself is very low, but he will be able to take a very solid kill there with the Punishing Strike. Now you see Blinks, Alvionex there, kind of being left alone as Kiwi is slowly respawning, coming back up, but the blue team too hesitant on really going in. They will probably have to hold a 2v3 here as soon as Attribution dies, considering that he's very, very low HP.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a really good momentum swing now in favor of the blue team. Akar is going to get chunked a little bit here, and Attributions is very low as well, but nevertheless, they'll be able to hopefully make something happen here. They do have Kiwi on that Gatling. Akar does fall, but Attribution's doing a really good job of trying to avoid Katana. It's really hard to outrun a gunslinger, but Attribution's doing a phenomenal job of doing that. Poorest in his identity turret will be able to zone for his team as well. And a very, very good early showing here from the blue side. Learning a lot from last game, it seems. Even though Attributions rather will fall, it still leaves Kiwi really low. This game is not lost yet for the blue team.
That's right. They still have the Sorcerer's Awakening and the Bard Awakening to deal with. We're going to be seeing how these Awakenings are going to be coming into play, especially as we go into the 30-second period. One thing that the blue team is really trying to do here is trying to get these bursts, but they're just really struggling on getting together and converting off each other. It's both the Bard and the Sorcerer's Awakening coming off at the same time, and Rothland definitely making use of, look at the massive over 30% HP shield. Katana gets chunked very heavily, but still hasn't lost a single point of HP because of that bot shield. Poorest gets left almost alone there. Attribution's trying to do his best to peel, forcing not enough. Now he is the one that gets left alone in a 1v2. We're starting to see that thing they're talking about, right? The staggers, right? The staggering kills. They managed to get one. Now they managed to get the other. They're starting to get that snowball situation, and Akari has to come back and try to do his best to peel for his team. Poorest rather has come back and feel his team. You can see that he's pumping out that little plasma cloud, the hard CC and the slow on it. Meanwhile, Akari trying to convert as they really try to push the Bard, but meanwhile, Attributions gets left alone in the bottom of Katana, and Katana is going to finish him off. The Bard still in the base. Like, I don't think the Bard has died a single time here. Healing ever so slightly there of the little puddle. Kiwi trying to frontline for his team a little, like protecting the Bard, right? Staying there with the Bard. It may be time for them to maybe just take this down, as with only 15 seconds left, they can just die, all three of them, and it will still not be enough for the blue team. Yeah,
but honestly, I do want to call or bring attention to how well the blue team did. Honestly, this is a completely different blue team than we saw in match number 1. So they do unfortunately lose 9-4. The score might not say it, but it was extremely close for a good majority of this game. So GG's to both teams as Raffle and Q do advance. This is the upper bracket. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I see a lot of people asking about that in the chat. Exclamation point bracket if you want to see the bracket. I know the website is lagging a little bit. It's having a little bit of issue because you guys are so supportive and you're just going crazy on that website. But a really insane match. Blink's doing a really good job on that Bard. Really impressed me, to be honest. I was not expecting him. I assume he has that like melee brain player mentality, right? Where it's just go, 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 never stop, never stop. I'm just going to do all the damage. But he showed that he can play patient and he can do really well. So.
Yeah, I mean, after all, you know, if you think about a class like Surface, for example, it is very hybrid. There is still a lot of damage reduction buffs that apply to it too. But, you know, big props there to the, I think so far as of yet, still unnamed blue team, because they really did adapt from the first game, right? They only started falling once they got into that situation where they began getting snowballed, right? Where they began dying one by one, getting picked off one by one, where, you know, Ruffland had the opportunity to team burst them together. I think coordinated burst is something that you're going to be seeing very often in these high-level games, is somebody gets picked off, they are going to die unless they get peeled off immediately. Yep. And blue team actually managed to hold out surprisingly well, managed to keep the game relatively even. It really wasn't until one of them started falling, well, 2 of them started falling and then left, you know, the sorcerers alone, for example, that then things started really going downhill. And again, as you say, the score is not indicative because they really had to try and go for like a late game push. They could probably have taken that, you know, maybe leave it at 7-4, maybe 7-5. They got a kill and retreat, but they just tried to do their best there at the very end to try and push. And they did overcommit, but honestly, there was nothing else that they could have done at that point. So
yeah, and like you were saying, right at the beginning, they were playing together really well. They were kind of, it was really hard for Katana to even find an opportunity to do what gunslingers want to do. Ironically enough, the team's name that we were talking about is Team Supports Are Boring. And Yeah.
So Poorest
Shots
boring.
fired to Blink on the Blinks on the Bard, but really well played by them. I'm actually very impressed with their adaptation from game 1 to game 2. They did a lot better, and honestly, I think if they were able to force a game 3, I don't even know who I would be saying is the favorite there, because obviously the ping is going to hurt the EU teams, right, who are competing on NA East, even though obviously they have so much more experience in the game, and they're quote unquote rank 1 Grandmaster players, right? I think that if we gave them another chance that supports their boring, could maybe take a map or 2 off of Raffle Land Q. But as we get the rest of the tournaments set up, all the scores reported, all the brackets updated, we're going to take a little bit of a break. But before I do, if you want to join the Proving Ground Discord, there's the Discord there. So if you want to participate in any of the future tournaments that are brought to you by Boom TV, and if you want to follow the people behind the scenes who you're not seeing, we have the Boom TV Twitter, obviously. Lin Boy Jr., not to be mistaken with the Lin who's casting with me. That's Kent. He's the community manager for Boom TV. We have Gimmick and Papsy from the Lost Ark Champs Leagues as well, who are working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure that the broadcast and the tournament runs as smoothly as possible. And obviously, please go follow Lin. Go follow Lin. Go follow Lin. And if you want to support the channel, I know you guys have been following the stream like crazy, so I appreciate all of you. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that's where I'm the most active aside from Twitch. And if you want to find Lin on Twitch as well, he'll type a little in chat. He'll drop his Twitch link in chat as well. And you guys can go follow him. He is a multi-class Grandmaster Giga Chat. And he's probably one of the most knowledgeable minds in the Lost Ark PvP scene right now. So make sure you are following him if you're important. If you're important, go follow him. If you don't follow him, you're not important. There you go. All right. We're going to take a little break while we get